Foret Credit Union is here to help you build, grow, and dream bigger. Whether you're looking for rewards checking, tools to boost your credit, or just a team that's got your back on your next big move, Foret is with you every step of the way because they believe your dreams deserve a place to thrive. Go to foritcu.org, that's FORRITCU.org, and keep an eye out for a new location opening soon in Gresham's Rockwood neighborhood. Federally insured by NCUA.
This is an ad by BetterHelp. What comes to mind when you hear the word gratitude? Maybe it's a daily practice, or maybe it feels hard to be grateful right now. Don't forget to give yourself some thanks by investing in your well-being. BetterHelp is the largest online therapy provider in the world, connecting you to qualified professionals via phone, video, or message chat. Let the gratitude flow. Visit BetterHelp.com to learn more and save 10% on your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com.
Today on CityCast Portland, we're talking about the future of the state kicker tax refund, what our new city council's policy interests could look like, and several businesses downtown that are being forced out of their building, including a much-loved record store. Joining me on this week's Friday News Roundup are Willamette Week City Hall reporter Sophie Peel and CityCast Director of Digital Strategy, Brian Vance. It's Friday, November 22nd. I'm Claudia Meza, and this is what Portland's talking about. Welcome, everyone, to the Friday News Roundup. Sophie, Brian, thank you for hanging out with me this morning. How are you two doing?
Good.
Yeah, no real complaints.
I mean, we'll get to them, I suppose.
We'll get to them, yeah. But no real complaints about the day.
For those of you new to the show, today is the day we break down some of the biggest local stories of the week with some of the best and brightest journalists in town. But before we jump into the news, I usually ask an opening question so our listeners can get to know our guests a little better. And today's opening question is related to the news that Multnomah County has projected a deficit of around $21 million next year from its general fund budget. That's the largest pool of discretionary funds at their disposal. They're saying the decrease is because of the decline of property tax revenue from our downtown business area and just general inflation. So my question to you two is, what other ideas for revenue sources should the county look into? Now, I can go first if you need to gather your thoughts.
Yeah, that time will help.
Okay, mining from my DIY background, I think the county should get into merch. People love merch. People love koozies, they love t-shirts, they love tote bags. You know what I'm saying? I think they could also get really niche, like we're the county, we provide services, like gloves, like let's get dirty.
Malco branded gloves.
Yeah.
Friendship bracelets, JVP for life.
Yeah.
I was trying to find a really cute motto for Multnomah County, but all I could come up with was one for Clackamas County, which is let's get clackin'.
That is good.
Oh, that's great.
Isn't that good?
Yeah.
Clackamas County, if you're hearing and you want to get into my merch idea, for one, free, you have it.
Yeah, make some t-shirts, stickers.
I would wear Let's Get Clackin', Clackamas County.
That'd be a good... I'd put that on a hat. That'd be...
God, that's such an amazing idea that just at 50% of county employees would just suddenly be working in a printing shop, printing merch.
Yeah, I've said it time and time again, property taxes are not the best funding source.
Yeah.
Merch forever.
You're printing money. What about you guys?
Oh, this is not, I know this is not a fun answer. I think they should just cut some positions that they don't need. Because the county is there's a lot of waste in there. And I do believe there are a number of employees, and I don't know who they are, but I believe there are a number of positions that are just completely duplicative and unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going to be so unpopular, but county employees get paid very handsomely.
Yeah.
And I just think that making a journalist's wage, I'm always when county employees complain, I'm just kind of bit of an eye roll,
Mm-hmm.
Just the top layer, not the middle people, but the top layer of management. And I don't know what exactly their salaries are, but I just trim them a little bit.
I do want to say that county workers provide some of the most needed services, and the ones that I've encountered are so overworked and underfunded that what I'm hearing is maybe an audit of who is getting paid
Yeah, I'm
and
not
where
saying
there's
yes.
too much money and when there's
Yeah.
less of it. Because let me tell you, the health services, the health workers in
No,
the
for
county,
sure. Like
Ooh.
the frontline people, I think
Yeah.
should get paid more.
Okay.
But there's a top management that are just like,
Yeah.
keyboard warriors that I
Mhm.
think,
Ooh.
and I think this is true for the city too. Like the deputy city administrators getting paid like over 200K right now to do, I don't really know what, like I think is ridiculous. So I'm talking about the top layer. I'm not talking
All
about
right,
like
all right.
frontline doctors, health workers, social services people, just to be clear.
Okay. What about you, Brian?
Well, I like how Sophie's idea to make money is just to cut spending.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, it's smart.
It's of the times. It's of the times.
Yeah, that's what people say whenever you're like, "Hey, I'm not making enough." They're like, "Well, where can you cut?"
Yeah,
You know, I think that's
look
smart.
at your budget. It is.
Yeah.
It's very
I'm
smart.
just a business-minded gal. What can I say?
Clearly.
And then clearly, the next step would be merch. Okay, so go on, Brian.
Well, merch. Yeah. So I don't have a good idea. I don't know. Crypto. We have cheap
Crypto is
water.
a-
Like crypto is apparently going to be the thing over the next 4 years. I don't know.
You think
Probably
the-
not. But
The county should invest in crypto.
yeah, just like put up some miners, some Bitcoin miners. Just like connect them to the water in the river and just
This is the worst idea
mine the shit out of that Bitcoin and
that
just
has
make
ever
some money.
come out of this show.
To me, I think crypto's stupid, but why not? Just make some money if you can.
All right. So we got stop paying the county workers so much,
Mhm.
crypto, and why don't you make a nice T-shirt? The county, if you're hearing this, it's all yours. It's for free.
Brilliant ideas.
If you bundle all three of them, solved.
yeah.
Thank you so much. This was a very generous think tank. Thank you for answering my question. I thoroughly enjoyed all of them. Well, on to the news of the week. Brian, you're going first because we both decided that your headline is basically a springboard for ranting.
Yeah.
And here at CityCast Portland, we're rant facing. So take it away.
Okay, so I come today with an update about the Oregon kicker. So Mike Rogaway of Oregon Live reported on the New State Economist's first quarterly budget forecast, and it looks like we're on pace to come in almost $2 billion over what was expected as far as state revenue for this 2-year budget cycle. But the bigger story here is that he's already at work in shaking up how we predict revenue going forward. And that's important because that's what kicks off the kicker. So for those who don't know, we have this weird law in Oregon that basically says if state revenue comes in at more than 2% above what was forecasted at the start of the biannual budget process, we kick back a bunch of those funds. That's why it's called the kicker. In recent years, we've been breaking records left and right. Last kicker was over $5 billion because the past economists, according to our new guy, Carl Riccadonna, were a little bit too pessimistic. And so he's shaking things up. He's coming in. He's bullish on Oregon's economy. I do think that what we're going to see, not in 2026, but in 2028 and later, is smaller kickers. And I'm all for it because the kicker is frankly stupid and a waste of resources and time. And I'm just curious what Claudia and Sophie think about this.
I think what interested me more than anything is it's amazing to me that for 10 years we have made the same mistake repeatedly.
Mhm.
And I know Oregonians like it. Like, it's nice to get a little bit of a kicker, but it's also, we're a state. I mean, all states complain about lack of funding, right? Like, we always need more money. That's what's going to solve our next issue or our most pressing issue. And it feels like it's such just like kind of a clerical mistake on the part of the state and also this one, top economist, which just has a huge amount of influence.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's amazing to me that we've repeated this same mistake for 10 years. And then, we get this new guy in and he's like, let's change this. Like, that's his first order, right? Is like,
Yeah.
he's going to change
It
the
was his
formula.
mandate.
Yeah. It's sort of amazing that it took this long.
Right. I do appreciate that the governor, Tina Kotek, is like, the next 4 years, we're not sure what's happening. Maybe we don't change anything right now, which I think is wise. But because my solution is, okay, new economic model for Oregon, we get rid of the kicker altogether,
Yeah.
reduce our very high income tax, which is among the highest in the country, and then just this is going to be crazy, let the state keep all the money it collects
Yeah.
from our slightly reduced income tax. Let's finally commit to all the public programs that I don't know if about you, but it's really hard to plan your life and plan like next big moves when you don't know how much money you have. We've been going back and forth with that with so many of these public programs where they're just like, I don't know what's happening. We can't move forward that way.
Well, the kicker's just really stupid. Like, think about if you went to buy a shirt and the shirt's like $50 now, but they're like, but in 2 years, the price will be different and we'll eventually send you a refund for the difference. That's basically what we're doing with our income taxes right now. We're paying really high income taxes right now that we apparently don't need to use all the money for. So we send it back 2 years later. It's just so inefficient and stupid. Just charge the income tax you actually want, use the money you actually get for all the things that you need to do, and just cut out all this wasteful time and spending allocating kicker funds to be kicked back to people.
It's also interesting to me that one thing this article brought up is that the state operates on a biannual budget, which makes kind of these projections a lot harder. And I know there's a lot of benefit to doing a biannual budget versus just an annual budget, but it does seem like that has created sort of a lot of these projection issues because a lot can change in 2 years based on who's in office. And I mean, so many things, whether there's a pandemic. And so I'm curious if they've at all thought about sort of rejiggering like the time frame of their budget. I kind of doubt it just because like writing a budget, especially, I mean, even for the city, it's basically like a 6-month job. I mean, the city spends half its time basically like working on a budget. So I can't even imagine like how long the state works on a budget. But I do think that has created like a lot more kind of volatility in the projections.
I mean, couldn't they just get like Quicken or something to spit a budget out for them real quick? I'm joking, but yeah, no, I hear you. Like, I think maybe shifting up the timeline here would help too. Like, I don't know, 2 years is a lot of time. By the way, you might be hearing my dogs in the background. They're apparently wrestling and going all out smackdown in the living room. So that's what you're hearing back there.
Oh my God. I just feel like these are things that there's no way that they haven't thought about. Because it just seems like it makes so much common sense. So I'm curious what the other, what their side is of them being like, it's not a good idea and here's why. So if anyone from the state who's like, part of the funding system, if you're just like, no, you dum-dums, this is why, please let us know. Because right now, it doesn't make any sense and it's excruciating.
It sucks so much.
Well, Brian, thank you for bringing that up. I love it. I remember you saying, hey, I got to do this because my wife is really upset about the kicker possibly going away. And I was like, well, she's wrong.
Right. We're on opposite sides of this. I think it's really dumb. And she's like, they better not mess with my kicker. Like,
all right. Well, let's take a quick break here. And when we come back, more headlines of the week.
Blinds.com is kicking off the savings early with Black Friday mega deals all month long. A Blinds.com design expert can help you make the perfect selection on your schedule. We can even handle everything from measure to your whole home installed for just one low cost. With over 25 million windows covered, Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. Get up to 45% off site-wide and a free professional measure right now at Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Sophie, you're sharing something you dug into a week or so ago that breaks down our upcoming Portland City Hall power ranking, by which you mean special interest groups, like who supported who. We all actually almost covered it last week in the Friday Roundup, but we decided that we should just have you on and explain it because you would probably do a better job than any of us could. So
I don't know. Probably not.
You did do the reporting, so.
All right, Sophie, take it away. What's going on?
Yeah, so this story was sort of a bit of a forward-looking story, I guess also a look-back story about who our future 12 city council members are and sort of the special interest groups that basically did well in this election because the people that got elected are amenable to their desires. There's been a lot of chatter about, and this wasn't the group that was, we ranked first in the power rankings, but the DSA, Democratic Socialists of America, they went to bat for two candidates, Tiffany Koyama Lane and Mitch Green. Both of those people got elected. And I don't think the DSA has ever had a member of the city council who has, openly been a DSA member. And now they've got two. And not only that, they've got at least 2 or 3 others that are quite sympathetic to their desires. That's Candace Avalos, that's Angelita Murillo, and that is Samir Canal in District 2. That's pretty huge for that group. The interest group that we think did the best are the labor unions. That is DCTU, that's AFSCME, that's LIUNA. A lot of these unions represent hundreds, if not thousands, of City of Portland workers. And they have many, many sympathists on the city council. They endorsed, a coalition of these unions endorsed 8 out of the 12 future city councilors. And, 8 out of 12 is a pretty strong majority. Part of the reason I find it so interesting that labor did so well, and I think one of the sticking points that I'm sort of looking toward is that we've got 3 labor unions right now that are trying to renegotiate their contracts with the city. Well, one is a new union, so they've never had a contract before. But,
right, so it's the first time.
Right. That's partly because the city is looking at a 5 to 8% budget deficit across all city services, except for first responders. And these unions, as unions do, they want to raise, the wage of their members. And so, these city councilors that are coming in and that have, pledged to labor that they support the workers' rights and all that, like they are going to have a really, really tough decision to make. And so I'm so interested to see how that plays out because they are kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. Still, though, labor did really well. In the number 3 spot, we've got social justice nonprofits. That includes the Latino Network, Coalition of Communities of Color, Verde, which all, benefit from city grant funding. They have one really, really strong advocate on the city council. That is Candace Avalos, who is currently the executive director of Verde. And of course, will have to give up that position when she takes her seat. But they've also got a lot of other people on this council that are likely to be friendly to them. And that includes Angelita Murillo, Mitch Green, Alana Purtle-Gwynny, Jamie Dunphy, and Steve Novick. So they've got, at least 6 there. 5 or 6. And so they are real contenders sort of when it comes to their desires and what they want from the city council. And then last, well, I guess second to last is the Portland Metro Chamber. So of course, that's our Chamber of Commerce. They have historically had a lot of outsized influence at City Hall. They generate a lot of money. They have a huge downtown presence. And, most of our city council members have been West Side people. And so there is a very, very clear line of communication there. City councilors have historically picked up the phone when the Portland Metro Chamber has called. So, the Chamber of Commerce, they've got 4 really, really strong advocates on the city council: Dan Ryan, Olivia Clark, Eric Zimmerman, and Loretta Smith. There are 2 others, though, that their political action committee did endorse this cycle, but I don't think are necessarily going to be in lockstep with what the Metro Chamber always wants, because they were also endorsed by the labor unions and at least one of them sort of by that nonprofit progressive sector. So those 2 kind of swing people are Alana Purtle-Gwynny and Steve Novick. How I'm looking at this, it feels like there's sort of 3 floaters on this council that I think could really make the difference on a lot of these votes, which is Purtle-Gwynny, Novick, and Jamie Dunphy in District 1. Those 3, I'm not really sure how they're going to land on votes, and I could really see them kind of going either way. Last is the public safety unions, so the fire and police unions. They endorse some of the people who have been elected to the council, but besides maybe 3 or 4 people, they do not have a super, super strong majority.
Have they ever, though?
Well, I don't know. I mean, honestly, I think right now, they do.
This current council.
Mingus, Ryan, and Gonzalez. And I think even prior to that, when it was Mingus, Ted Wheeler, and Dan Ryan, when Joanne Hardesty and Carmen Rubio were on the council. I mean, Carmen obviously still is, but even that was a bit of a majority too. So I think they have less, now they've got to count to 7. They don't have to count to 3 votes anymore. They have to count to 7 votes.
Yeah.
That's sort of the big overview of the interest groups and how we think they sort of stack up with this new council.
Well, I'm curious, were you surprised at who came out on top or who came out on the bottom, just, based on what you were seeing in the run up to the election?
I think the one thing I was a little surprised at is I thought a couple more moderates would make the top 3. I mean, honestly, I think the sleeper was Samir Kanal in District 2. That was one prediction that was just not on my bingo card.
And he entered super late too, right?
He entered super late. Yeah. He didn't raise a whole lot of money. He sort of came out of nowhere. I think it is really interesting, though. It's every single district we've got, and this is sort of bastardizing it. This is really simplifying it. But we've got a moderate, we've got a super progressive, and then we've got someone kind of in the middle. Every single district, except for District 4, where we've got two moderates and one super progressive. But the other three, it's like there's sort of this like middle ground of someone that it's hard to pin them down on really where they stand on things.
You're saying moderate, but really what you're saying is they haven't showed all their cards. That's what I'm hearing. Because like when I think of Steve Novak, I don't think of moderate.
Sorry, no, I'm not. So when I say moderate, when I'm talking about that, I'm talking about the Loretta Smith. I'm talking about the Dan Ryan.
Dan Ryan.
Yeah.
So this is, kind of the other end of the Portland political spectrum from like Samir
There's a
Canal,
curve here.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So the person in the middle person is the one, like Steve Novak is like the middle one that I can't really pin down.
Gotcha. My question was just like, what do you think this means? Because here's a deal. No matter what, if you're looking at, the power rankings of like who invested in who paid for whose flyers or whatever, we still ended up with a really amazingly diverse group of people. Like 6 men, 6 women. That's crazy. I know, but it's like just even there's like 5 POC.
Insane.
Yeah, 5 LGBTQ.
Super diverse.
Yeah, exactly. Just on that alone, I'm curious as how things are going to shake out. Because it's like, okay, this is the thing that we've always wanted.
Yeah.
Right.
We've always wanted a diverse...
It's what everyone was asking for.
Yeah, representation, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like, all right, guys, you better not fuck up.
Yeah, we've got it now. Well, I do think I guess I hadn't put 2 and 2 together with the labor unions and then the budget shortfall. Like, what are they going to do there? Like, they're going to have to cut from somewhere unless they can, I don't know, maybe they can take your idea, Claudia, maybe the city.
Merch.
And now my dogs are squeaking toys in the background, by the way. Can the city get a kicker? Can they get a kicker rebate from the state? I don't
How
know.
about we just get all of the state's kicker this year?
Yeah. Oh, the rest of Oregon would love that.
Yeah. I know.
They'd be thrilled.
Like, oh, I like Portland now.
Yeah.
Now that they have all the money.
Yeah. I was wrong about them being elitist.
Yeah.
Well, Sophie, thank you for breaking that down for us. I feel like so many people have kind of just created their own breakdown of like how they're predicting things to move forward. So this was like an interesting way to look at stuff. But I love that you're just like, I don't know. I'm like, well, what does this mean? You're like,
I've started to avoid predictions because I feel like I'm more often than not, I'm pretty wrong.
Well, as we learned with the kicker, that's a hard thing to do. Predicting the future is tough.
that was a perfect thing. And then just a little squeak at the end.
Squeak.
All right, well, let's take a quick break here. And when we return, more headlines of the week. So this week, I wanted to talk about the Governor Building, which is a commercial building downtown that is kicking out all of its tenants with what the businesses are saying was too little notice and without any reasonable explanation. Now, in doing so, it's displacing this music store that's considered an institution in Portland's music community. And yet another piece of like what some might consider old Portland that we might lose. And I read articles from the Oregonian, KGW8, and Fox 12. Honestly, I don't know if any of this would have made the news had one of the businesses not been Second Avenue Records, which is the record store. I feel like everyone has passed that store, even if you've never gone inside. Just to give you a visual, it's like right on the corner of Southwest Harvey Milk Street and Southwest 2nd Avenue. Now, right by the Morrison Bridge turnoff. So it's just, and it's been there for 42 years. So there's no way you haven't driven by or haven't seen it. And if you grew up in Portland, it was probably the place you went to buy your first band t-shirt, or to get your first record when you got into vinyl and weird music. Second Ave is also very supportive of the local music community and is one of the last record stores in town that is presently doing consignment, which they had to shut down, of course, because they're moving. But Tootie from Dead Moon, like when we spoke to her, we were just shooting the shit, like, oh, what's going on? What are you doing? And she's like, well, I got to go drop off some t-shirts at Second Ave. Like that's how instilled they are, It's like it's seen as one of the last beacons of Portland's old DIY scene. As for the landlord, every media outlet that I credited earlier reached out, and it's the Downtown Development Group, which is literally what the real estate developing company is called.
Very generic name.
Yeah. And they've not commented further other than a statement saying that they notified the tenants in late August and early September that they would no longer be operating the building as part of their quote unquote retail portfolio. They were also quoted as saying, "We have been in active discussions with the tenants to assist them through this transition, and there have been many inaccuracies in news stories about this topic, so we've decided not to air private business matters in the media and will not be making any further comments." And to their credit, Kathy Hagen, who co-owns and manages Second Ave Records, has confirmed that the downtown development has been assisting them in finding another location, but nothing has yet to fully materialize. But yet, according to all the tenants interviewed, they felt like they were blindsided. Most were in what they thought were active talks on a lease renewal. For example, Second Ave Records only just posted on their Facebook page that they were closing on November 12th, which is a weird thing to wait to post, because it was also like, hey guys, if you have consignment, come get your shit, you know? So they were just like, no, we were negotiating leases, like what the fuck? So one tenant whose story broke my heart, Dan White, owner of the tattoo shop, the Villainous Art Collection, was literally just 3 months into a 3-year lease before he got his letter to vacate. And he's claiming that this has financially ruined him and he might soon be without a home because he sunk all of his money into his business. So even with, help relocating, he thinks this is it for him. Before I go any further, what do you guys think?
I think it's really interesting how close to their chest the Downtown Development Group is keeping the reason for this. It doesn't seem like an empty building. A lot of the buildings that are going back to the bank in downtown are doing it because they can't make their payments to the bank.
Right.
And so at some point they fall so far behind that the bank just takes it back. But the Downtown Development Group, they don't have buildings that foreclose. Pretty much all their buildings, to my understanding, are pretty they're up to date with their payments. They're not known for being foreclosed on. And so I don't know. I mean, obviously there's a reason, that you don't just do that, but
right.
I don't know.
I don't think they want their building to just sit empty.
No.
But
Yeah. Do you want a little background on the development group?
yeah.
So the Downtown Development Group, they're run by the Goodman family. Great-grandpa Goodman started city center parking way back in 1955. If you go downtown, city center parking is everywhere.
Right.
And this eventually led the family to their downtown commercial property empire. They sold off city center over a decade ago. But looking at their portfolio, which I also did, Sophie, out of their 37 sites, most appear available for development. So they do own fully developed buildings, but only 13 are listed as developed. The rest are kind of empty-ish parking lots. There are buildings, but there's a few they still have parking lots that I think they're just waiting for someone to come in and do something with.
Yeah, good enough deal.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is they might just own a lot of these. And if we talk about lease breaking laws for residential properties, according to Oregon law, the landlord must not evict a tenant or force them to vacate without probable cause, right? But with a commercial lease, yes, landlords in Oregon can terminate without any reason, as long as they provide a written notice to the tenant 30 days prior to the specified ending date or 30 days prior to the date designed, the notice for the termination, whichever is later. So
yeah,
it's not like they have any legal recourse.
Yeah.
Aside from shaming, public shaming.
Yeah, going to the press and the tattoo artist sharing his story, but 30 days to figure out where you're going to move a business. You give me 30 days to figure out where to move my house, I'm probably going to have a heart attack. Everything in my house. And that's not a business that's been there, in the case of this record store, for 42 years.
42 years, yeah.
And yeah, it's really sad. I can't even begin to imagine what their plan is for that building because, as you said, it is already developed. It's not a parking lot. So I don't know. Are they planning to knock it down, build something else there? Are they...
That sounds expensive.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like the time to do that, especially if you had tenants, so it's very curious.
The cryptic words of it's no longer going to be part of our retail portfolio led me to assume that they were selling it, but
maybe
they're not saying it outright. I don't know.
But why would you need to evict all your tenants if you're selling it? That this happens all the time. People sell commercial buildings. They don't kick everyone out of it.
That's true. Well, what's interesting is that people commenting on Second Ave Record Store's Facebook announcement of their closing actually were weirdly excited and hopeful for them to move to the east side, because at their current location, it's kind of a no man's land. There's not much there. It's hard to walk around as well.
Yeah.
A lot of supporters were like, hooray, please come to Hawthorne. Please come to, you know what I mean? We will support you here. We've been waiting for you to come come over.
Yeah, come to us.
Yes,
sort of
exactly.
thing.
But the owner was just like, oh, I was hoping I get to stick around and see downtown come back.
Well, do you have a theory, Claudia? Like, what do you think's happening here?
You know, what's so funny is that normally, I have all these like conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
I have like nothing. I think they're just done with that building. Like, I don't think that they're getting enough money for what they think it's worth, and they're going to do something else. And they're not showing their cards because I don't think that's gone through, or like they don't want to, again, get belittled in the media. I just wish there was legal recourse, especially for that like tattoo guy,
Yeah, like 30 days seems not enough time to give a business notice for for a no fault eviction. If you're like setting fires in the building, like whatever, but like you're following your lease, you just signed your lease. I don't know. Can we give them 90 days?
Yeah, but according to the Downtown Development Group, they did. So I don't know. Well, Sophie, this is actually for you. A commenter on the Oregonian Instagram post about the story wrote, "Please start doing write-ups on these landlords. Seriously, we need to start doing profiles on how many buildings they own, rent raises, all that." And I was like, that's actually a pretty interesting idea. Because there's plenty, right? There's plenty of buildings where you're just like, that's been empty for 500 years.
Yeah.
What is going on? And I know that Anthony Effinger has been doing stuff with like abandoned buildings and stuff like that. But like for like actual, buildings that are in use would be really interesting. And also just to be like, meet your landlords,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's pretty cool.
Meet the guy who takes your whole wallet every month.
Yeah. I was like, I like that idea.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting.
Well, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Really appreciate you being my Friday Roundup buddies.
Well, thanks for having me.
Thanks, Claudia.
Of course. Have a great weekend. That's all for today here on CityCast Portland. Thank you so much for listening. Our executive producer is John Atariani. Our producers this week were Julie Fiaioni, Natalie Rivera, and Lizzie Goldsmith. Our Hey Portland newsletter editor is Rachel Monahan, and our host is me, Claudia Meza. Original music by Jenny Conley and Steven Drizos. Additional music by Epidemic Sound and All the Kimonos. We'll be back Monday morning with more from around the city. Until then, see you at Slim's.